Hello, Meg Rentschler here from the Star Coach Show. Strategies, tools, and resources for professional coaches to answer one of the questions I get asked more than any other. What do I need to know to stay on top of my credential and to renew it when renewal comes through? Because the reality is, you've worked hard to earn that coaching credential and you want to protect it by staying on top of what the requirements are and getting it in on time. Now, nothing that I'm going to share here today is unique to me or my special sauce. It's actually all coming from the ICF website, coachingfederation.org. However, sometimes if you don't know what you're looking for, it's hard to find it. So I've pulled some things together to answer those questions that I get asked again and again and again to hopefully lay a clear path for you so that, boom, it is done when it needs to be done. So let's start with why do we even have to have a credential? What's going on with that? Well, the ICF maintains high standards for professional coaches globally. In that, any profession, in my opinion, worth its weight, has ethics and standards that it follows and requires the members within its industry to continue to sharpen their saw, to continue to pay attention to their trade. And that's exactly what we as coaches have to do when we are in our renewal cycle. To maintain your credentialed status, you have to submit for your renewal by your renewal date. The first question I get asked often is, well, how do I even know when my renewal date is? To find your credential expiration, you want to sign into your ICF profile. Under your profile page, under credentials, you're going to click on that. It opens up and your expiration date is right there uh, for you to plan around. Now, you don't have to, and often I hear from coaches that they're almost concerned about, like, they wait till the last minute because they think that everything expires if they don't wait till the last minute. Now, that's not true. You've got 3 years to collect your continuing education, your mentor coaching if required. And so you could submit your application up to 10 months in advance of your actual expiration date. One of the other things that I get asked on a continuous basis is, Meg, if I'm going from, let's say, from an ACC to a PCC, do I do that while I'm recredentialing? Well, those are two different things. So if in fact you are an ACC and you're looking to um, reapply to the PCC level, that's an application process versus the renewing your credential process. So what I would recommend is, if you've got enough hours to go from ACC to PCC and all the coach specific training that you need and the performance evaluations, if you need to do those, plan ahead, and instead of renewing your ACC, submit an application for your PCC. Just be aware that it's going to take at least 3, maybe 4 months if you have to submit a performance evaluation to be evaluated for that next credential. So plan that ahead. Be sure that you've got a good window. If you are submitting for a standard renewal, just know that that's going to take 6 to 8 weeks at whatever level you're at. But just to reinforce, applying for the next level up is not the same as applying for a renewal. And this little training is about what we need to be thinking about for renewal. Let's say that you've gotten pretty close to the end of your credential period without realizing that you were that close. You realize it and you think, there's just no way I'm going to get all of my continuing education and or mentor coaching in before the end of my credential. Let's say you expire at the end of of December and it's November and you need a little more time. Well, the ICF does give a 60-day grace period. That extends through the last day of the second month. After that, if you have not submitted for your renewal, you no longer have an active credential. You can no longer put that you're credentialed on your website or on your business cards or reference yourself as a credentialed coach. And while you are trying to earn that credential back, you're going to have additional continuing education added to that. And there is a graph that kind of shows you if you're 2 months late, you might need to add a couple continuing education hours. It's all laid out on the ICF website. But this is the deal. If you have gone beyond that grace period, you still have the next 10 months to get everything you need and get it submitted and get your credential back. If you go more than that extra year, then your credential is fully expired and you have to go back through the whole process again. So I would recommend, even if you're past that grace period, but you still have those 10 months, get what you need to get that in and save your credential. It's not impossible to get your credential back after 1 year expired, but you're just basically starting again at the beginning. Now, we're going to renew our credential. What do we need to have? Well, you need to have 40 hours of continuing education. And if you are an ACC coach who is recredentialing, 10 of those 40 hours must be mentor coaching. Mentor coaching counts as core competency continuing education credits, and PCC and MCC coaches could do mentor coaching to get those 10 hours of core competency continuing education credits. However, ACC coaches are required to, which means that ACC coaches really need to be paying attention to the clock because mentor coaching must extend a minimum of 3 months. We'll get to that again in just a second. So of those 40 hours of professional development continuing education credits, they're broken into core competency and resource development hours. Now, core competency hours are related specifically to skill development and core competency. They tend to be those real-time interactive trainings that you do, any pre-approved trainings that already have the core competency credits attached to them. Of those 40 hours, 24 of them must be core competency continuing education. You could do up to 40 hours of core competency continuing education, but the minimum is 24 hours. Now remember, you've got 3 years to complete these. The other kind of continuing education is resource development. Those are trainings that add to your professional development as a coach, but aren't necessarily specific to the core competency. Any kinds of trainings that you do to develop your business, writing that you do, research that you do, any self-study. I tell people all the time, listen to the Star Coach Show and use it as your resource development hours. I'll tell you how to do that more in a minute. Now, whereas the core competency credits is a minimum of 24 hours, the resource development is a maximum of 16 hours. You can't have more than 16 hours of resource development, where you could conceivably have all core competency hours for your 40 hours of continuing education. And once again, we're working under a 3-year umbrella. So let's talk about some ways that you can get those continuing education credits. Any ICF approved training, whether you're doing that through your local chapter of the ICF, regional trainings, global trainings, those ICF approved trainings, or that different schools have gotten or different continuing education programs have gotten pre-approved training, Those will say whether they're core competency or resource development, but that's a great way to get your trainings. Like I said, mentor coaching counts as 10 hours of core competency training. Other trainings that interest you, when you look at them, just look, are they pre-approved for the ICF? Are they core competency? Are they resource development? Really pay attention when you pick your trainings of what they are approved or not approved for. Now, all of those self-paced courses and other self-study tend to go to resource development. However, since COVID, that's changed a little bit in that you can do self-study with that is pre-approved. Usually you have to complete a quiz or do something to prove what you've learned. But if those are pre-approved, it will show how many of those hours are core competency and how many hours are resource development. So just be really aware of that. And you can dive more into that here at this link, the professional development link on the Coaching Federation website. Now, I thought I'd give you some specific links because, as I said, sometimes when people go to the website, they get a little confused. ICF has a learning portal that you can go to and explore what kinds of trainings are available, how they've been approved, what category they're under. So, check out the learning portal at the ICF website. Communities of Practice is a great place to get some continuing education. If you are a member of the ICF, it is free. If you're not a member, you can still participate. You just have to pay for the continuing education. So the communities of practice are broken into career coaching, coaching science, coaching supervision, ethics, executive and leadership coaching. I just did a training for them last month or the month before. Health and wellness coaching, internal coaching, life vision and enhancement coaching, and team and group coaching. So, under all of these different areas of coaching, there are portals that have trainings in them that you can watch, you can attend live, you can get your continuing education that way. It's a great way to A, learn more about these different areas, and B, get your continuing education. Now, of that 40 hours of continuing education, you're required to have 3 hours specific to ethics training. But the ICF has you covered there. They have a free 3-hour ethics course on their website. Take the course, answer the questions, get your certificate, and boom, you've got those 3 hours. Really handed to you by the ICF. Plus, you get that great learning about coaching ethics. The ICF also has an event calendar on their website. So you go to the event calendar, you can sort by am I getting, am I looking for maybe a level 2 training to get to my PCC level? Am I looking for continuing education? Do I want it to be in person or virtual? What language do I want it to be in? What kinds of CEUs am I looking for? All of that, it can be sorted that way, and then you can see what's available and the cost of those trainings. So that's at the ICF event calendar. Now, I do want to let you know that in my 15 plus years of working with coaches to really be the best coaches they can be, mentor coaching is what I hear again and again and again is a game changer for them. It's required for your ACC renewal. It's required for new ACCs and PCCs who are going from ACCs who are going to PCCs often want to get those 10 hours of mentor coaching as well. But even if you're a PCC solid, you can get those 10 hours of continuing education to go directly towards your core competency. So an example would be, we all need 40 hours of continuing professional development. 24 of those hours must be core competency continuing education. So you take 10 hours of mentor coaching plus the 3 hours of ethics, that right there is 13 hours. So at that point, you only need 11 hours left of the core competency continuing educations, and then you could conceivably add 16 hours of resource development or more core competency if you wanted. So mentor coaching really takes a chunk out of those requirements. For the purposes of credentialing, mentor coaching really means that you're being coached on your skills rather than building your business, how you're balancing your life, other topics that are not related to your skill development. As I mentioned before, a key thing to remember about mentor coaching is it has to extend over 90 days, over more than 90 days. So, with that, you want to plan for it, and you want to be sure, because I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody come to me and say, I did mentor coaching, but that mentor didn't hold a ICF credential, so it doesn't count. You want to be sure that for the purposes of ICF recredentialing, your mentor coach holds a credential from the ICF. If your mentor coach is an ACC mentor coach, they have to have gone through one cycle of their own renewal before they can mentor somebody else. So these are all things to just be aware of and ask about. Now, some people choose to do all individual mentor coaching. Um, in my experience, the sweet spot of really doing mentor coaching that moves the dial and creates a great synergy is a program that involves both individual and group. Now, of those 10 hours, you're required to have a minimum of 3 hours of individual coaching, and you can do up to 7 hours of group coaching in small groups that consist of no more than 10 people. So I find that the benefits of the programs that not only I run, but that I hear other people talk about is really, like I said, creating that synergy of individual and group work together. The groups in my program focus on the core competencies, they focus on building skills together and doing live coaching with one another, getting direct feedback, really zeroing in on the competencies. That allows 3 hours of individual time to focus in on each participant's individual growth. In my program, I require that at least one of those one-on-ones, we're listening to a coaching session that you've recorded that I can give direct feedback to. So when you think about your growth as a coach and renewing your credential, I really recommend that you're thinking about what's going to sharpen my saw, what's going to make me better at what I do now, because we all fall into habits and patterns that sometimes serve us and sometimes don't. So mentor coaching is a great way to move past that. And I will tell you that consistently, I'm hearing from coaches that they gain so much from being in a mentor program. This coach was not credentialed yet, and she actually she was doing her mentoring to get those 10 hours of mentoring that you need to be able to get your very first credential. And she was a little anxious at first about, oh my gosh, I'm the least experienced coach in this group. Should I back out? Should I, quit this program? But she stayed and gained so much. She says it was terrific. Learning at different levels of experience in the cohort actually helped me. I learned from everyone's experience and saw a variety of different coaching styles. I hear that again and again. So, yes, mentor coaching is a requirement if you're an ACC renewing, but as this coach said, he took the mentoring because it was a requirement. but it was transformational for him. And it's just a great way to grow. So, if you're interested in getting mentored as part of your renewal process, I invite you to check out what I offer at starcoachshow.com/mentor. Now, I said that I would let you know how you can also listen to the Star Coach Show, which is a podcast specific for coaches growing your skills, your businesses, and impacting organizations with coaching. You can earn your resource development credits by listening to the show. It goes under self-study. Let's say I listened to episode 107 with Master Certified Coach Fran Fisher on how to set a coaching agreement. I learned this thing and spent 45 minutes listening to the show. Boom, you just write out those different things and you can get your resource development. It's free to listen to the show, and it's a great way to expand your knowledge as well. So just remember, your credential really is worth protecting. Plan for your continuing education because there are so many options out there. Don't you want to do something that really means something to you, that you really enjoy? When we plan, we can also get the biggest bang for our buck, which means picking the programs. Like, I just enrolled for a program, but I wanted it, so I waited till they opened. I grabbed their early bird special. Those are things that you can do when you plan for your credential. Really keep your skills strong. You owe it to yourself, you owe it to your clients, and you'll be that much more competent and confident in your delivery. Work with a coach or mentor. It's a way to just kind of take everything to the next level. And keep listening to the Star Coach Show. We've got great guests coming who really want you to gain from their knowledge. I've been blown away by how generous the coaching community is in sharing their expertise with one another. So here's to your coaching success. I hope that this was helpful in exploring how you keep your credentials strong and shine your light. Being able to bring your coaching to the world as a credentialed coach means that you're confident, you're competent, you're prosperous, people are seeing you, you're invested in your own growth, and you want to get clear about what you offer. So, with that, thanks for taking the time. This is Meg Rentschler with the Star Coach Show. I certainly hope that this was helpful. Have a great day. Continue to share what you have to offer because the world needs it. Take care.